Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and co-host SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink with your host, Lance Green.
How's it going, Steel?
Oh, my. I mean, I'm decked. I'm ready. We're talking about orange and black here, my man, and I'm here to tell you I'm excited. I'm ready to roll. It's been a little while since we had a little show here for y'all, and sorry about that, but we had some, well, how should we call it? Technical difficulties?
Sure.
Yeah, let's call it that. Technical difficulties that had to be addressed, and so now I think we're good to go, and we're back at it, and boy, we have a lot to talk about because, boy, a lot has happened for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Definitely.
And not only that, but Lance has released another great article for us to feast our eyes on, and folks, I gotta tell you, man, I really think this is one of your best articles, Lance. It's chock full of so much good information, and I can't wait to dive in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's jam on it. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Let's roll.
Let's roll. All right, here we go. Episode number 154. Wow, how about that, folks? Episode 154, and Flyers' precocious success, although exciting, can it last? And that's what we got to talk about, man, because as of late now, the team has dropped a few games in a row. Okay. Some games that they probably should have won.
Yep.
But still dropped a few games in a row here. And now we're seeing, some injuries kind of creep up a little bit on the team and taking some players out for a bit of a stretch here, But the one thing that I really want to focus in on here is the article that you wrote, Lance, and it's based off the title of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Flyers' precocious success is very exciting, but it's very fleeting. And talk to me about, obviously, but what was the reason behind the title,
Mm-hmm.
and then with all of the information you provided?
Well, yeah, it's just that you see that the title leads to the play right now. They were on a hot streak for a while, and they were on a roll, and probably a little bit better team than or a little better in the standings, let's say, than what they actually are, and that's kind of
overachieving, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of being proved right now in the game as we film this. They're playing the Bruins and getting their butts kicked. So this article leads all to that. In the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, they were a tough team to play against. The bullies were there, and they were tough throughout the Tocchet years and, all that. Then in the 90s, early 2000s, they were a team of great talent. You had the Legion of Doom line and LeClaire and all those guys we just seen, Recchi and Lindros and you name it, Brindamore, had some great teams there, some great success. And that's the main reason why the Flyers were so good for so long. They were perennial playoff team. Yeah. And, actually, looking into this, they were the 7th ranked team all time, still are, in wins, total wins, right? Behind the original 6 teams that have over 2,600 games more than the Flyers played, right? So the Flyers for a long time have been one of the best expansion teams of all time. And
until Vegas came along last year and unseated the Flyers. But
still,
yeah.
Yes. Well, still, they don't have 2 Stanley Cups yet, and they don't have as many wins as the Flyers do. Yes. So we'll still hold on to that card for a while. But, during the Giroux era, the Flyers got away from that physical brand of hockey that we all come to know and love, of course. We talked about it here before. They became lazy. They lacked hustle. They became a dump and chase kind of team, which I hate. Why, me being a goaltender, especially, why, if you have control of the puck, would you just dump it in on purpose and get rid of it? I don't know. They lack the
Dome
talent to
scratcher.
skate the puck into the zone and set it up, right?
Yeah.
So that all kind of changed when John Tortorella came in. Over the past 2 seasons, he's kind of weeded out those bad locker room guys, those guys that were used to losing in the Giroux era and were just kind of mediocre type players. And he's kind of really brought that him and management now with Danny Briere and Keith Jones have really brought in the right kind of veteran players to this core and to bring back this will to win that the Flyers have been lacking for some time. Now they're an exciting team to watch. They don't have the immense amount of talent that they had in prior years with Ross and Leclerc yet, but they are building it, and I love their brand of hockey now. That run and gun style of offense has really been helpful to them and really successful to some players that we'll mention here in a little bit that may have signed some new deals. But as far as this article goes, I want to talk on some possibilities here. And it got me to thinking, all this has got me to thinking that, with the Hathaways and all that coming in and the Sean Walker and the Mark Stalls, it really helped a struggling defensive core become more solid. And, that penalty killing unit has been amazing. It's one of the league's best rights now.
Power killing unit.
Power killing unit. Yeah, they're scoring some power, some power goals on the penalty kill. So, in that we've need to continue this transformation from that lazy dump and chase team to being a more lethal run and gun style offense. And in that we have some expiring contracts to think about. You have the Sean Walkers, who could be a valuable trade chip. He's an impending free agent. You have others as well in Nick Seeler, who's played well this year. He's a good plus minus player, can play either side of the ice. So those guys both, are kind of extra at this point, with the addition of a great young player like Jamie Drysdale, who we've been trying to get for years, right? A player of this quality, a first pairing right-hand shot defenseman who can move the puck. He's amazing. 21-year-old kid. And he's checking all the boxes, as Steel just showed you. So with that being said, and Mark Stahl now getting to be a free agent too, we're going to have some space at the end of the season and some contracts to look to fill. And, although I don't think that they need to essentially add somebody this year, if they still find themselves, they're currently in third, I think, in the East, in their division rather, but in the Metro. But if they continue to do this well, and they were on a little skid right now, but other teams have been losing too behind them, so that's been good. If they had to pick up a guy, Steel, I would suggest an Anthony Duclair. And this is a kind of controversial pick here if they choose to add somebody. Again, I don't think they should at this point. They're a rebuilding team. But if they want to make a small playoff push or somebody that can help them score some goals, I would say Anthony would be the guy. He plays for San Jose, of course. He did have a little run-in with Torts there early on in his career, about 6-7 years ago. He played for Torts in Columbus, and the two didn't really get along. Anthony was viewed by Torts as being a bit selfish. But I think both have grown a lot since then. Duclair has gone on to have some great success. He's now 28 years old. He's a winger. But, he has had a 30-plus goal season in Florida. And
he played really well when he was in Florida, man. Really well.
He had an injury there. That took some time for him to heal up. But, I think this could be a guy that if they need be, he could come in for pretty cheap, considering he's not doing that great in San Jose, along with everybody else in San Jose. Let me tell you, that's a horrible team. So,
well, here's the other problem now. Okay. And this was something that you didn't exactly address in the article. You
Sure.
did address a couple of possibilities that could happen here with this team, but the one thing that that you didn't address in the article, and I think that with the signing of Drysdale,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that exactly is exactly what he does. He checks off a lot of those boxes for the Flyers, and I think that changes things now with the Flyers moving forward, meaning that maybe the Sealers and the Walkers and the Stalls now become a little bit more expendable. I mean, I don't want to say that.
I touched on that. Yeah, I touched on that a little bit in saying,
Right.
like, if we can get something for him, let's get something for him rather than
Right.
lose him for nothing.
Okay, see, then, and I'm with you on that. But the one thing that we didn't necessarily touch on and what we haven't talked about is the surprise that happened with the no longer Carter Hart being available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now Sam Ersson is the man. Okay.
Right.
And we sort of have been talking about this all the way through. But I think there's a lot of things that I think the Flyers need, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that you address in this article.
Well, this
And
article came out before that.
so that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say, though. You know what I mean? So
Winds
I
have shifted a
like,
little bit here.
right. I like the Duclair. I like that idea because
I don't think
think
it's needed right now, though.
Okay. But I still like that idea.
Yeah.
I still like that concept. I still like that kind of thing moving forward with the Flyers as far as that is concerned, because now I think that, just like with what you said in the article, those guys now have become a little bit more expendable now, and they can kind of address more, cover more area with more, you know what I mean?
I think that is a topic of discussion for another show, Steel.
Yeah.
Let me work on that. I got some stuff in the works there. So
Yeah. No, I'm
with
with
that
you.
topic, yeah.
See, you like how I lead into that, right?
Yeah. I got to do a little more research and find some answers. You know, I just don't like to go on and hearth on a topic and without coming up with a solution. So I'm trying to come up with a solution.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I love your writing. That's why I love your articles, man. By the way, you got to go hop on over to SteelFlyers.com and check out Lance's latest article there. The Flyers Precocious success there is fleeting. You got to go check that article out. It's over there at SteelFlyers.com. You got to go check that out for sure. And I got to tell you something. I'm very much even more impressed with Drysdale. The more I see him, the more I watch him play, the more I see him involved in the power play now, where he finally got his first goal, the other night. And so really appreciating the homework that was done and the fact that this guy was brought in. There's something else I think that we need to talk about as well, too, and that is something that's happened just within the last 24 hours.
Right.
And that is the re-signing of Owen Tippett.
It's a big deal, yeah. I did an article on that like a month or so ago.
I know.
The importance of that. And yeah, that's a great deal in my mind. I think he is
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. What
still
do
very
you
young.
think? I mean, with his age, with where he came from, how we acquired him, how the Flyers acquired him through the Giroux trade in Florida, right? You basically had coveted him before he got drafted. Then we coveted him while he was playing in Florida because he was kind of buried in the depth chart. You know what I'm saying? But the article that you wrote, a month ago?
Yeah, just about something like that.
Saying exactly, by the way, go to SteelFlyers.com and check out that article too about some of the things that the Flyers still need to take care of as far as that's concerned, and Owen Tippett being one of those things that the Flyers need to take care of. So go to SteelFlyers.com, check out all of Lance's articles that he's writing now for the Phillies and the Eagles and all kinds of fun stuff for the Lance man. So
busy, yeah.
I'm telling you, but the Owen Tippett re-signing, I think, is I'm really liking the direction of where this team is going. I liked the presser that Danny Briere came out and did the other day, like the state of the team halfway through the season kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Really appreciated the candor that came from him. You know what I mean? So I really like this Owen Tippett thing. It's a very team friendly deal that, like, when he gets to be in his 30s, it's not going to matter, you know, because somebody would still pick that up at that low end of a money kind of a situation by that time. So
Mhm.
what, Lance, what do you think about this contract, this, because we scoffed when the Sanheim deal came down, and we
Mhm.
were like, oh my gosh, Sanheim. And now Sanheim is like, hey, he finally listened.
Hey, listen, you got somebody to play with him, right? A Jamie Drysdale on his side to, help him out a little bit. So,
Okay, so what do you
although he
think of
was
this,
doing,
man?
pretty good beforehand, trying to step up and be the guy after Provorov left, now you have Drysdale to play with him, and he's looking good. But anyway, Owen Tippett is a young player. He's 24. I think the Flyers were able to cash in at the price they got him at, because they put belief back into him, right? Like Steele said, I am a huge fan of Tippett's. He was a phenomenal scorer in juniors for Mississauga and the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Steelheads.
yeah.
Great player. But he's still young. He's 24. He has 18 goals already this year, 30 points. And he had 27, I believe, last year and 49 points. So he's looking well on his way to beat his point totals at least, and maybe surpass his goal totals as well. I believe him to be a perennial 30 goal scorer or better. He's still young. He's still basically having to do it on his own. Um, you know, there's some
Sorta.
pieces out there, but
Sorta.
there's not the top line players, offensive talents that other teams have for their young players to play with, right?
Right.
So, I mean, if you look at this deal, 8 years, $49.6 million, it fits right in where I was saying, where, both teams probably came up to somewhere in the middle, because as far as contracts around the league were going, I thought Owen to be able to ask for more, but the Flyers have some pretty nice contracts of their own with, the Travis Konechny contract and the Joel Farabee contract, very
Right.
reasonable contracts within the $5
Exactly.
million per season range. But of course, they may be a year or so old. So, with inflation and everything else, this was a great signing. I think he's definitely worth the $6.2 million if he can be a 25 goal scorer or better. Obviously, he's persistently through over this 8 year span, and he's still going to be in great. This should last him probably throughout the rest of his tenure, with the Flyers. Hopefully, hopefully all year 8 years here. He's still relatively young. I really like him. He puts the puck on net. It's much needed. A lot of guys are pass first players on this team, and he's one like
He's a
a
shoot
Simone
first.
Gagne is just going to shoot it as soon as it gets on his stick. He's ready to let it go, and
He's
God love him, man. This
yeah.
kid just fires the puck, and that's what they need. That is so what they need right now. So,
He's like in the top 5 in like total shots taken on net
yes,
in the
yes,
year, right?
great. That is what we need
Right.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So like, all right, yeah, man, cool.
Right.
But okay, so you really like the deal that they got for Owen Tippett,
Hmm.
considering that he was part of the Giroux trade, and along with that, you know what I mean. So I'm really excited about this Owen Tippett deal. I really think this is a very team friendly contract, and will it allow the Flyers to still continue to build with other pieces that are going to need to be making contributions to the team here. You know what I mean? And I also think too that addressing that whole issue of the Sealers and the Walkers, you know what I mean? If they can get some picks, I'm okay if they can get a second round pick, or if they package one of them guys up with one of our late round picks to get a first round pick, or however way that works. You know what I'm saying? If somehow that works, that we can get a draft pick, even if it's a second rounder for either one of those two guys, to me, that's a win-win. Or if we say, let's say we trade one and sign one, right? I mean, I would go halfways on that too.
Well, yeah, it all depends. I mean, you don't want to block your youth coming up, and a guy like Zumala is surely showing that he deserves a
Oh,
spot moving
belongs.
forward and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
But I think a more physical player is needed in that realm. Sealer is physical, but is he a guy that's gonna really, if you can get something for him, I would say do it. For like you said, Steel, if you get that second or even a third round pick for those guys,
I'll take it.
um, you know, Walker is probably, going to be a free agent, and he's going to go get some money because he's shown his worth here. He was great in LA. He was underrated in LA,
Agreed.
and people have opened their eyes to him this year and see what he's worth. I don't think the Flyers are going to be able to retain him, and we traded for him, remember? So
Right,
it's not
right,
like
right,
he came here as a free agent by choice. So
right.
the even if we wanted to sign him, he may very well be wanting to go back west or wherever else, where his family was already established for quite a long time. But in that same token, um, like you said, Steele, if you can package, we got 2 first-round picks this year. So even if we got a second or third round pick for either one of these guys or both, we can essentially use that to say, package that with one of our first that maybe later if we're looking at getting a guy farther up, or just simply drafting a guy in the second or third round. A lot of these kids are, you got depth here, and there's a lot of good players in this draft, so I think you could definitely get somebody in the second or third round this year that's going to be helping this team sooner rather than later. But as far as next season goes with those openings, still, I like a guy like um, a Yakov Trenin to come in. He's a goal scorer. He's a Russian forward that's stands 6'2", 201 pounds. That with one of those spots that's going to be created. I like him. He's a very physical player. He puts the puck on net when needed. He's got speed. I think that is needed, and that would bolster the bottom, 2 lines. He can move up and down when needed. He offers more offense than other players on the team right now. And if I had it my way, I would sign if I had to sign that veteran defenseman to say replace Mark Stahl and your Walkers and stuff like that. Give me Yanni Hakanpää. Now, if you don't know this guy, I've talked
Yeah,
about him
yeah.
before. He's 6'6", 225 pounds. He's 31 years old right now. He's making just $1.5 million, but he is well worth that money. Okay, he's very physical. He puts up over 200 to 250 hits a year. Um, he's everything that Ristolainen we were hoping he would be. Let's say that. He can hit. He can move people out in front of the net. He can stay at home and let guys like Drysdale and everybody else go, and he's okay with that. And he's where Risto is a career 180. This guy's a plus defenseman. Okay, he's gonna stay back. He'll drop the gloves to protect his teammates. He
Yeah.
just checks a lot of boxes, and he's very underrated. And at the same time, I think he would be he'd be willing to sign a deal short term, a year or two, so that when the Emil Andres, the Helgi Granzes, the Oliver Bonks are ready to come up, you're
Yeah,
not going to
he's
hinder
not gonna.
any
Yeah,
of their progress. Okay. You still need veterans. You got a lot of youth on that back end now, which is great, but you still need a veteran to kind of be there and show them the way a little bit. And, he could hold down the fort until some of these other great defensemen come up.
I'm with you on that, man, 100%. One of the other
That's in
things I
free
want to.
agency. Yeah, that's in free
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah, one of the other things I wanted to touch on here too is before we put a cork on it is the although there has been some life shown on the power play, it is still bloody dead last. And I'm seeing some life coming from there with the Drysdale, putting him in there, and then they've been kind of switching things around with Forster, and then they've had York as well, kind of trying to be the quarterback of the power play. You know what I mean? Kind of switching it up here and giving it to different guys and seeing who's going to work, and who's not. And I'm liking what I'm seeing with the Drysdale edition. I'm liking kind of that, but I'm not seeing any creativity in the power play. I'm not seeing any movement. I'm seeing very little net front presence. I'm seeing, you know what I mean, all these kinds of things that all the teams that are doing really well in the power play all have. And that's something I think the Flyers lack. And we talked about this in the last show or a couple shows ago about how we thought that, yeah, okay, the Flyers are lacking some talent, but I think they're lacking not just talent, but I think they're lacking some clear like direction on the power play, what to do, how to, you understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? Like, or am I just grasping at straws here, man? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's definitely been one of the things that they need to work on for sure. Um, the power play wasn't that great, but they added a lot of players, and they now have those pieces needed to succeed on the power play, and the defense has been bolstered. As Briere and Keith Jones said they wanted to do. So they're working on a couple of things. They still obviously need to work on the power play. I don't know why when you're celebrating, Mark Recchi in there and bringing him into the game that the veterans just played and all that. Why you wouldn't talk him out of leaving Columbus to come here and run a power play, or as soon as that contract's up, we got a deal for you here, something. It's he's one of the best power play goal scorers of all time, and I much rather see a guy like that running it than a career fighter. But we talked about that before, so it's
Yeah.
tough. It's going to be tough. It's one of those things that we need to work on, and that's why I like a guy like Trennan for next year too. He's a net front presence. He'll stand in front and he'll bang home a goal or redirect a
Yeah.
goal. He's not afraid to do that. Big body guy, and he can create some fast breaks to get that power play and stuff going. If you got a young guy like Drysdale or even Zumala, who's great at throwing out some great outlet passes to guys for fast breaks. So
I'm with you.
those little pieces, like I said, those veteran players that you still need to sign. You don't want to load up your team with them like we did in prior years, but you need that happy mix of youth and veterans, and he would be a great veteran for that purpose. Along with and some others that younger guys are going to be coming up and hopefully be able to help on that power play, like your Mishkovs and all that. So
I got you, man, but that's years away.
it
So I mean,
is, it is, it is. Yep. I think, like I said, they corrected a lot of problems, but they still have some more to sort through.
some more to
So
do, right? Okay. Last thing is we got Sam Ersson as number one goaltender now. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts, feelings?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not, well, really the only goalie. You got Cal Peterson that came up and he's made it into the game because Ersson got chased in this Bruins game very early in the first period. But it's going to be tough, man. It's tough going with Carter Hart now, out for undetermined amount of time, if he's ever coming back. And this is something I alluded to earlier on in the season as well, as don't be surprised if his name pops up. Obviously, he seems like a great young kid and wholesome and stuff like that, but he's obviously possibly made some bad mistakes in his youth, as all of us maybe did, or maybe not to this extent, obviously, but some of that fame and fortune and young and dumb has managed to land us in this position. This team has gone from having two relatively great young goaltenders and a good goaltender tandem to having to rely on Sam Ersson. And although he's played great this year, it's a big ask. It's a big ask of him to come in and play here as the guy for a significant amount of time moving forward until
he's
they
the
can
man now. He's
find somebody else to fill a stopgap to some of these guys that we drafted come in, or Carter Hart can get cleared of any wrongdoing and come back. So it's a lot of question marks. The team's not going to go out there and right now and spend or trade for a big name guy, being that they don't know what's going to happen.
Right. And we don't either. We don't have
and
all
nobody
the story.
does. Nobody does right now. Nothing's come out and been said. If so, maybe they do, attempt to make a move at some point. Because let's face it, I don't think Cal Peterson's going to be the guy to be the backup. We kind of took him on as a contract just to eat a contract so we could get out from underneath the Provorov deal. So it's going to be tough. It's a big ask on Sam. He's got to step up, and he's not looking like it the past couple of games. So
that's what I mean. So yeah. All right. Well, then you're pretty much saying that they stand pat until. I mean, I think you're going to have to kind of look at something short term immediately. Because you're not going to be able to roll with Sam Ersson being the number one guy. I think you're going to have to try to do something more on the immediate side, I think. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let me think on that, Steel. I'm trying to come up with a resolution for this team in just that way. Trying to find some last-ditch hope. Goaltending, finding a goaltending running into, after the All-Star break is going to be hard for sure. Teams are trying.
That's a good way to put that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clamor around them and acquire people right now. So we're going to be, if we're going to do that, we're going to be fighting quite a few teams that are trying to bolster that for a playoff push. But
exactly.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm going to have to come up with an answer for us here.
Yeah. I'm purposefully skating the subject because I want to make sure that until we say anything, until we have, when we have all the information, then we'll be able to say something. But until
as are the Flyers, and I think that's the right thing to do. This doesn't look good for sure for Carter Hart, but at the moment, if he didn't do it, I hope he can, clear his name and come back. But this is going to be a trying time for sure. So
exactly, and so but we're definitely going to keep our ears and nose to the grindstone as far as to let you guys know when whatever we hear, find out, or know. And I'm also going to say this too, that once the information does come out, we will not be holding back as far as what our thoughts and feelings are on how this is all going to shake down, because no matter how you slice it, it's a bad look for everything and everybody involved. And the worst thing about it is the people that are involved that are being hurt the most, that nobody's saying anything about that, that's the shame of it all. So everybody's all worried about these millionaires that are whatever. So but Lance, you did say I believe you did say you got something in the works, right? Didn't you?
I got multiple articles in the works, Steel. I got my handy dandy notepad sitting right next to me, taking notes on some stuff. and jotting down some ideas of topics of discussion for sure about the Flyers. So
Sure, man.
look for some good articles coming out here soon. Hopefully I can hide up in this office and get to it.
We won't say anything to the boss.
Yeah.
We won't say anything. We won't mention anything to the boss. And you got your volume turned down. She can't hear this or anything, right?
Yeah. She's downstairs with the kids, so we'll try to sneak away and get some articles done, because I think this is some stuff that definitely needs to be gone over and discussed. So it'll be interesting when they come out.
Exactly. And the information that, whenever information is available, we'll be more than happy to bring it to you guys. You know us. We don't hold back. We pretty much call it like we see it. We have been since day one, and that's one of the reasons why we appreciate you guys all listening to us and checking us out. Really, really appreciate all the views that we've been able to get on our new shorts that we're putting out. Big, huge thank you to our new short editor, Frayne, who is just doing an amazing job with, those little shorts and everything. By the way, all said and done, I think we're at 4,000 views on both of those shorts put together. We're close to it, so thank you very much for that. Thank you for the subscriptions for that as well, too. Also, 22 extra views on the one Prospect Watch show, and 18 extra views on the other Prospect Watch show because of those shorts. So thank you guys very much for checking those out. I really appreciate that. Lance, why don't you tell the folks where we can find you and where we can get you, my man?
Yeah, guys, as always, check out my articles on SteelFlyers.com. Not only am I writing about the Flyers and prospects of hockey right now, I'm also dabbling into baseball with the Phillies and with the Eagles as well. I just put out a new Phillies article today, so go by and check that out. Type in SteelFlyers and Phillies into your browser, and they should all pop up. But you can also catch me on X at Lance.Green39.
And you can also check them out on a lot of the Philadelphia Flyers Facebook groups that both of us belong to a lot of those. So check us out on those as well. Be sure to check out some of those great Facebook groups for Flyers fans. We post the shows out on there as well, too, for folks to get a chance to check it out. You can check me out on X as well at SteelFlyers52. You can also check out the show at HCKEY Writers Ink. That's HCKEY Writers Ink on X. And you can also check us out on the SteelFlyers website at steelflyers.com/links/Hockey Writers Ink. And you can go check us out on the YouTube channel as well, and all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Thank you all very much for checking us out. I'm SteelFlyers. That's Lance Green. We will catch you all on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Ink.